A lot of you are not going to like this one. Being hyper independent is a trauma response. Let's argue. But before we get started, if you're new to my channel, hi, welcome. And if you've been here before, welcome back. My name's Love Spell, the Queen with a Pen. And on this channel, we talk about various subjects like shadow work, spiritual healing, and how to change your vibrational energy. If this seems like something that you're interested in, make sure you hit that like button, smash that subscribe button, and ring that bell. We about to stir up this pot. Y'all ready or not? Hyper independence. What is it? Well, independence in itself is literally just means being separate from someone else. When we use it in the context of our lifestyles or how we live our lives, we are talking about making choices, making life decisions, and doing things that are separate from everyone else. Being able to do those things without the opinions of family members, friends, and companions. And standing on your own too while doing them. It's a good characteristic to have, because being dependent means that every choice that you make, every decision that you do within your lifetime is going to be determined by someone else. And people do not do well living your lives. Usually the decisions that other people will make for you will not sit well with you. And it will cause the person who is getting the decisions made for them to not be able to navigate their own life without a crutch, needing someone around them all the time, because there's always a decision to be made. So the problem is hyper independence is an elevated form of that. It is where you insist as a person on only making decisions, living your life separate from everyone else. This is brought on by what we call a trauma response. Usually it comes from some parent or authority figure in your childhood who disappointed you with the decisions that they were supposed to make towards you. Hyper independence is an elevated form of that. It's taking things to a new level, raising the stakes, so much so that it actually affects the way you live in a negative way. People who are hyper independent do not ask for help. It doesn't matter the volume of the task, little or large. It bothers them to have to reach out to somebody to ask them to do things for them. Hyper independent people are also the type of people who will be going through a whirlwind of things and will not tell a soul. These are the people that you literally have to check on, because instead of actually telling people that they need help or they're going through something, they'll just disappear. If you so happen to get wind that they are going through something or need some help and you offer it, they will find any way to minimize how much they are going through or what they need. The goal is to get you to back off. If all else fails, if they can't do the task without having to implore someone else, they just won't do it. Let it fall to the wayside or let it fall apart. It's easier than asking people for help. I'll tell you the reasons why. All of this is a direct response to trauma inflicted by a parent or a parent figure. Now, of course, this trauma could be intentional, but most likely the parent figure or parent who imposed this on this person did not know that they were creating a unhappy situation moving forward. Instilling independence in a child is ideal, but not hyper independence. There are two ways that a parent can instill hyper independence into a child. The main one is usually if the parent themselves is a hyper independent person. So they'll teach their child to behave in ways that exemplify being strong, being independent. They'll be rewarded for those behaviors. The more burdens that this child can carry, the more they are glorified. They will also be shamed if they do not carry those burdens. But not only just carry those burdens, they must carry those burdens while looking good doing so. So you should be able to be independent and make all the choices in your life without falter, without fail, without stumble. The second way is way more harsh, but it is extremely effective, and a child will become hyper independent very quickly. It's through neglect. A parent who lets their child stay at home for long periods of time at a very young age is creating a hyper independent child. A parent who decides that a child must take care of the other children in the household and doesn't give them the same care that should be offered to the other children that the child is offering, then you are creating a child that will grow up as a hyper independent individual. A child who is ignored, who has to figure things out, whether it be in schooling, whether it be financially, whether it be the food that they eat. If a child is left to their own vices, they will quickly develop hyper independence. When you're a hyper independent person, as you're developing into that type of person, you'll show some signs. First, you'll start asking less and less of people. And when you do ask of something from someone, it'll be the smallest of tasks, something that won't determine the ending factor of whatever you're trying to get done. You'll start to do everything alone and tell yourself that you prefer it that way because it's easier, because you don't have to deal with other people's opinions and their lack of enthusiasm for what you're headed towards. You'll be a person who doesn't regularly get sleep. You'll often be overwhelmed and continuously busy. And even though this is a place of chaos, you'll find yourself most comfortable there because when you're not overwhelmed and overburdened, you feel like you're not getting things accomplished. And this place of chaos is daunting. And so the only way that you can stay there, only way that you can carry on year after year, day after day of being burdened by all of your tasks without any help from anybody else and not break down mentally is if you play with your mind. How do you play with your own mind? Manifesting continuous betrayal in order to justify why you are only depending on yourself and yourself only. Why nobody else could ever complete a task for you. Why nobody else is ever going to do anything for you. And why even if they offer, you should tell them no because they're going to betray you. Your mind's going to say things like, they're not going to show up if I ask, so I'm not even going to ask. Every time I ask somebody to do something for me, they never do it or they don't do it right in the first place. I got to sit here and wait, and people just don't care. They're not on the same page as me. People are jealous of me, and everything that I do is a problem for somebody else. Playing with your own mind. And these tactics, they work for a short spell of time because there are people who are going to betray you. There are people who are going to put themselves first, and you will actually seek out them people. You may even actually call those people to come and do something for you just so you can get exactly what you're manifesting, just so you can get exactly what you're asking for. But it doesn't last forever. So what is the next thing that you do in order to make sure that you continuously be this hyper independent person? Find fulfillment in completing the most daunting task of them all. Putting yourself in a position that when you do complete that, you feel like somebody. People who are hyper independent are often forgetful, lonely, sad, aggressive. And this is only because their characteristics is not bad. It's just that they're carrying around a lot of stress and strife, trying to handle every single thing in their lives by themselves, wanting to be the whole village for themselves. But that fulfillment of getting one of those tasks done that was daunting, one of those tasks done that could only be done by yourself for you, but would have needed a village of people, would have needed, you look at your cousin, your relative, your aunt, and they did that same task, but they needed so many people to tag on, and you did it by yourself. It's like this ultimate saying. I did it on my own. I got it out the mud. Wasn't nobody there for me. I was in the circle alone. Wasn't nobody there for me or whatever, right? That's great. But it's almost never true. Almost never true. And the only way you get fully to the top, even when you get to the top, You end up with a whole team of people because you can't do it by yourself. You can't. Hyper independence does not have a place. Being an independent, strong person is great. But if you feel shame in letting someone help you, it's time to get help. How do you get help? You have to go against your normal, my dear. If you know that the task of which you are trying to accomplish is hard, then it is time for you to implore other people. You have to release your hold on things, your inability to be unable to control every aspect of your life. There are people who are way more qualified to do what you're doing. You just don't know it yet because you won't release the reins. So once you're looking for help, once you've decided I am a hyper independent individual, and it is actually causing more turmoil than it's worth in my life, the next step is that the next task that you have is to actually delegate someone else to do it. I think the best medicine to start with is take particular tasks that you normally wouldn't allow anyone to touch and delegate it to somebody without ever checking on it until they've brought it to you with completion. Yes, it will almost kill you. It will. It will almost kill you. You probably will be head spinning, dying inside to know if it's complete. But if it's brought to you in completion, just as good or better than you did it, then you know it's time to release the reins. And the next task, hand it out, baby. We are developing ourselves into better individuals who are mind healthy, body healthy, and emotionally savvy. And you cannot be that carrying every burden that you own, every task that you have to complete, every job on your backs. That is not how you get things done. I am an independent, strong individual, but I am not an army of one. Now, you've been listening to me babble for long enough. Bye for now.